my name is Cobain, and I am a project support specialist here at LCR. So I look after all of the CAD side of things, which we heavily use WYSIWYG for. But I also do things like network design, as well as kind of supporting our freelance teams when they're out on tour or out on site. I ended up taking up a full-time job with LCR, but up until then I was a freelancer. So freelance lighting technician. I did a bit of design and operating as well. So, I mean, in essence, we are a lighting rental company, but we do so much more than just, rent out lights. We take ideas from our clients, and sometimes they're really well thought out and well developed. Other times we're a part of that process, and WYSIWYG comes into play a lot in those ways, because we will build the show in WYSIWYG. We can sit with the designer, whether it's in person or on a call like this, and we can show them in 3D. We can make tweaks to it whilst they're there, to see if they've got a concept that they can't quite work out how they want to achieve it. For instance, WYSIWYG's great for that. There was a big desire to have it in the round so that all of the audience, no matter where they are in the venue, can see the same thing. This is much more immersive. And I know that was very important to Ed and his design team. So, from like a lighting perspective, there are lights which, are sort of over the stage, but there's also a lot of lights out on the masts in the audience, which do a lot of sort of lighting of the audience and of the venue throughout the show. So it really pulls the crowd in. And it's the same with the video side of things. They've got plectrum stylized IMAG screens, which go around all of the masts. So no matter where you are in the audience and what angle you're looking at it, you can always see the same as somebody, who might be in a completely different position. During the design phases, we work closely with, obviously, the design team. So we work with them to try and, get our heads around how we can light Ed as he moves around the circular stage. So basically, as he goes around the circle, different lights turn on and off to actually light him as the artist, depending on which light has the best sort of ability of lighting him in a nice way. I personally started getting involved probably September of 2021. So we're talking maybe 5 months, 6 months before it started. But there were people within LCR who were involved earlier than that, because we were talking to the likes of Ayrton, a fixture manufacturer, to develop new fixtures specifically for this tour. Same thing with GLP, another fixture manufacturer. So I think it was 3 fixtures that were developed specifically for Ed Sheeran in the end, which was like the Ayrton Cobra, Ayrton Domino LT, and the GLP XDC strobe. I was very focused on getting the paperwork up to speed, getting it all built and modeled in WYSIWYG. I was getting updates from Ayrton and GLP about these new fixtures that didn't exist. So I was then having to speak to Peter in the libraries department at Cast, and he was making, I'm sure he was sick of me in the end, because I was asking him to make updates all the time. And then when we moved into previs, we sent a WYSIWYG suite down to the rehearsal site, which was Milton Keynes National Bowl in England. And they were on site there for about 6 weeks, I think, building the structure for the first time. And they had WYSIWYG, they were pre-programming, they had the fixtures, and we had updates going back and forward between Peter from Cast, tweaking the fixtures to make sure that what we had in front of us was the same as what we had on WYSIWYG. So yeah, that support was absolutely excellent, and that continues to this day, which is great. Our plots are now very comprehensive. They include all sorts of things from all the basics of like patch and everything through to like structural analysis and all the rigging side of things and stuff, as well as like network schematics and things, which we incorporate into our full paperwork package, which is sent out and is basically the instruction manual to how to put the gig together effectively, is how I like to think about it. There was a lot of discussions with the different departments because we had to speak to video, speak to the audio team, speak to the engineers, and work out how we were going to position these lights, how we were going to get data and power to them. It's a big task to try and pull all of that together. Especially when there's no physical stage that we can work with. It's all in CAD. We had our model that we built in WYSIWYG. The engineers were working in AutoCAD. But yeah, knowing where to put things and how that affects the weight distribution and stuff, there was a big team of people involved. And it took a good few months to get to the finished product. It probably is the biggest one that we've done. We've got other shows which are big in scale, but it might just be like a one-off. So we did Nicki Minaj last year, which was a huge arena tour in terms of the number of lighting fixtures and the amount of stuff there. It was absolutely epic, but that was only out for a few weeks. So the scale sort of depends on the context, I suppose. We use WYSIWYG on every job that we do. Some of the artists that we work with now are like recognized names around the world. So we've got, Ed Sheeran, Dua Lipa, Snow Patrol, Chase and Status. But, they're sort of bigger names. There's also like up and coming artists, smaller names. And also as well, it's not just music. Like we do TV things, theatre things. So like, over the festive period, the London New Year's Eve fireworks display, so lighting up the London Eye and all the River Thames and stuff as part of that, as well as like TV productions. So like New Year's Eve Big Bash was an ITV broadcast that we did in December. We did stuff for the Olympics and Paralympics for Team GB. I've also been quite involved with contacting cast to say, is there a way that we could make this better, or could I request this feature? And they've been very receptive, which has been great. So it's nice to kind of be involved with the software in that way as well, not just being a user, but trying to have a bit of an influence over how it moves forward and how it develops. WYSIWYG is very much a core part of how we operate as a company. So the whole sort of ecosystem of LCR is heavily dependent on WYSIWYG and what we produce with WYSIWYG. Obviously, the visualizer and the rendering is a big part of what the product is, but also like most of what we use it for is to produce PDF paperwork. And it's not as sort of flashy and impressive to look at as a really nice render of a show, but it is it's the important bread and butter of what makes everything work, and it has such a core significance within every project. And having something like WYSIWYG as a solid bit of software there to use day to day and to trust, to be able to represent all of the things we need to get down on paper is really, really important. And WYSIWYG just does that job really well for us. It's not really a feature so much as I just really like how it is a one-stop shop for doing everything in one place. So like the CAD side of it is quite comprehensive, but I can work in 2D with all of the lighting specific tools that WYSIWYG has and see it in 3D in real time, all in one bit of software, and I think that is just a really nice workflow. It does it seamlessly, which is great. It makes my life a lot easier and a lot faster. I've really come to appreciate it over the last few years of using it every day, from the perspective of it being such a simple product to use with all of the advanced features that we need. It makes it really nice, especially when the people on the other end are cast, who are dealing with the tech support side of things, the questions about how to achieve a certain thing, or asking about feature requests. They're so receptive, and they're just very helpful. Like Peter in the libraries department, I email him a couple of times a week, probably on average, and he's very quick to get back to me. And it's just really nice to have that sort of relationship between us and all of the team at Cast. So it's just a really nice product with nice people supporting it. So